Yeah, so like I was saying, it turns out that it's not supposed to turn that color, but I think we could. Are we recording yet? Oh, yeah. Hey, welcome to our show. How's everyone doing? I'm Jose.
I'm Eduardo.
And I'm Tiffany.
And welcome to, what's it called again? What's this thing called?
I believe we agreed on Cinephile Discourse.
Cinephile Discourse. What did we watch today?
So we watched, it's part of another film in our Czech New Wave series. We watched A Report on the Party and Guests.
And guess what? We got a report for you now about this film.
And does anyone want to play the pronunciation game? So I'm saying that it was directed by Jan Nemec. That's how I'm going to pronounce the name.
I'm going to say Jan Nemec.
Jan Nemec? Is
Anemic.
Anemic?
Yeah.
Anemic.
I think that's good.
That's his name.
I think you win.
Anemic.
Thank you.
Ed will check this later, and right here he'll say who actually got closest.
Right.
Right here.
Yeah.
It was me.
We'll find out. So, Tiff, you've watched. This is the first time you're on one of these with us, but you've watched the other Czech New Wave films so far. And before we get into this one too deep, what have you thought about Czech New Wave as a whole so far?
Well, I'm sorry. She watched one. She watched the Joke. She did not watch Daisies.
Oh, okay.
Well, the joke was a joke.
Ah.
No, but I don't think I really care for them. They're just, I don't know.
They're
okay.
just a thing that exists as far as you're
Yeah,
concerned?
they exist, and it's like, okay, I may not watch it.
Because we watched and we borderline made you.
Yeah, because of that. But I mean, like, in my free time, this is nothing I would ever spend my time doing.
Whoa. Save that for the end when we tell people whether they should check this out or not, right, champ?
Spoiler: she doesn't think we should.
And give the people a quick overview of what happens.
So the film starts off, and the title's very literal. It's this group of people sort of having a picnic in this park, and
The wilderness.
the wilderness.
The wilderness.
But there's this open area where they're all eating and drinking, and everything seems to be
There
going.
can be open areas in the wilderness.
Yeah,
Plains,
it seemed trimmed.
Grasslands.
It seemed like it had been landscaped. Okay, it wasn't just wild. That was my point.
I mean, some of us can only be wild at heart, you know?
David Lynch. And so everything seems to be going pleasantly, and then another party arrives, and they have this very menacing and aggressive tone to them. There's a kitty cat off camera.
Who's messing with the mic, potentially.
They have this very sort of aggressive tone to them, where they're sort of they infringe upon their picnic, and
First of all, I don't like the way you're painting my boy Rudolph. He's very friendly. He actually just comes up and tries to link arms with Al Capone lookalike.
yeah. I mean, that's one way to see it.
Yeah.
Share your thoughts on
Yeah,
that.
use words though this time.
I mean, I don't like Rudolph. He sucks.
The red-nosed reindeer or the character in this film we
The
watched?
character in this film. He
Why?
sucks. Because he's creepy.
He's a creepy man.
No, and
You
it
like
wasn't
Ed.
like it wasn't like
It's true.
it wasn't like he just like walked up and linked armed him like with him and they were like galloping. It was like he was like, nah, I don't want you touching me.
Don't you mean like nay?
Nah.
Don't touch me. You said galloping.
Oh,
Horse joke.
It was a horse joke.
did a thing.
It was good. No, but then there's a lot of subtext going on with the film, because it's not just obviously about another party coming in and sort of ruining these people's picnic. There's other things going on.
Ed, are you gonna tell me that this is another
Another
Czech New Wave
Czech
film,
New Wave, politically charged,
talking about, I don't know, some people that like hammers and sickles and the color is red and yellow, maybe coming up and doing some biz?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's what.
Yeah,
this
that's
is
what's
about.
happening. Okay.
Yeah. So obviously,
If you're dumb, that means the Soviets coming.
So yeah, obviously there is a strong commentary in this film regarding occupation. I think they're against it, and it shows up. It's very overt, I would say, throughout the film. For example, right when the two parties meet, the invading party, we'll say, immediately infringes upon them, and enforces rules, sets rules in place, like they literally draw a line in the sand, or you could call it gravel, and they tell them you cannot go past this line, and then they even have like an imaginary door between two rocks. They're like, if you want to go past this line, walk through the door. And it's sort of interesting how quickly people just obey their rules, take them as gospel, and obviously that's they're saying something there. But then, as it goes on, it's just infused with this sort of political subtext. Any moments that stood out to you guys?
One of the big things I liked the almost like it reminded me of the scene in Starship Troopers when they all start saying it's like, I'm a Democrat. I'm a Democrat. If you'll permit me to say, I am also a Democrat. I enjoyed that part quite a bit. It was like they put in like a satire of like a political commercial in there. So I like that quite a bit actually.
Yeah.
And what about you?
I'm still, I mean, I didn't really like the movie at all. But I liked the confusion I felt, and I still don't understand that translation of when he was talking about what women are or something.
Yeah.
He's going on about women, and then like, women are the best.
Yeah.
But it's like, it was weird. I don't know if that
It was
was
an awkward translation, because
Yeah.
you don't know with this movie. It's there's this sort of surreal element to it. It could have been literal. and
Yeah.
they could have been saying something, but it could have also been a.
Yeah, because it's like we're like you couldn't say anything about women other than like, oh, women are.
Women are.
The-
Yeah, when you were saying things like,
best.
don't feel bad. I mean, at the end of the day, you're a woman, and women are women, and women are the best. I think was what you ended up saying.
And it's like, okay, like I don't know. I mean, I knew what you said when you said the first thing, but the rest of it made no sense. Like I knew you were like.
And I feel like you're
I
just.
think that might be because, as he put it, you are a woman, and women are women.
Oh.
Women are best.
He's saying things that are gonna get him killed.
I think the only people who would offend would be. Anyways,
About tonal shifts.
it's interesting how quickly though it like jumped up, because like you said, it started at the beginning. You know, they're eating, they're drinking. They see a bridal party,
Right.
like on the other side of like the creek, river, whatever it was.
Over yonder.
Walking down, celebrating, and they're like, "Oh, those are the people we should go meet up with them."
Yeah.
And so they start prepping, like the girls are getting ready, they're splashing water on their hairy thighs and spritzing perfume
I did
on
like
them.
That.
Yeah.
That was my favorite part.
Yeah, she loves hairy thighs.
Can't
Blame her.
I like that she had hairy legs.
Yeah. One dude's just using an electric shaver out there, just getting prepped. They're getting purdy. You gotta look good. And then when Rudolph and the rest of the boys show up, it just takes it feels like a very sharp turn to the feel of the film. And I was telling Ed and Tiff that it reminded me a lot of was it The Strangers.
That's right. You made the Strangers comparison.
It reminded me a lot of The Strangers, especially the way, almost the comical carefree way that Rudolph and them gregariously approach them and join their group, and we're no, we're just here to play a game. There's a cat on my lap. Gamora wants to play a game, but not now.
No, yeah,
Sorry,
and it is sort of jarring and sudden, the tonal shift. It's because going into this movie knowing very little, the first 10-15 minutes it sets this sort of carefree sort of whimsy, and then suddenly you get this moment where you're like, oh no, things aren't gonna, this isn't gonna continue. There's something else that's gonna sort of creep in. Because I think we could agree that although Daisies was also a very politically charged film, it's presented in a completely different way. It keeps a certain tone throughout the entire movie that's more whimsical and light. And so I guess I was expecting that in this one, especially because of the opening. But when it shifts, it does a good job too of shifting. It is sudden, but it's still, I would say, appropriate, especially with the events that follow. But it is very, I would say, it's very overt. The subtext and it continues throughout from that point to the end of the film. It's pretty consistent. There's a moment where they arrive at a wedding feast, or a birthday feast, I should say. And then we're presented with this new character who is the sort of leader, the one in charge. And first off, he presents himself as sort of friendly, and he's like, guys, please, I apologize for my friends, who were being mean to you and playing with sick jokes, but they were just jokes. And that's sort of downplaying, what was going on. But then you still have this hint of something sort of diabolical, even at the feast. There's this point where he's telling the person, the wife can't, her husband leaves, and she's like, oh yeah, my husband's left, and he's like, well, why did he leave? And then she's like, well, I don't know, he didn't want to stay. And then we get to that again at the end, and they basically set out a search party to find the husband.
Yeah.
And at first he's given assurances. He's like, oh no, we're just gonna set out and look for the husband. It's gonna be, just gonna try to get him back here. But you can see the escalation where it goes from let's get a search party. Oh, let's get a rifle. Let's get a hunting dog.
Yeah. And then it ends. And that's it.
Well, I think
Yeah.
one thing I should say about the ending, I think it's very interesting how it ends, because it cuts to black, and then you hear the dog just barking, viciously barking, which I think is pretty telling.
But it's an hour and 10, and I think one of the things it does very well is it just keeps once it flips on you, it does I think it does a very good job of just gradually just building tension bit by bit, and then it'll cool you off a little bit, then it'll start building up the tension a bit again and again, and then and then you feel like, oh, like something big's gonna happen, but then it ends.
Yeah.
And it's over.
It was very uncomfortable.
So-
That's why I did not like it. I don't like being uncomfortable, that uncomfortable throughout an hour and 10 minutes is too much, it's too many emotions. Like I'm tense, I'm fine, like alright, everything's cool, and then it's not cool anymore. It's very, very
I will agree that it's
and then it's
uncomfortable.
cool again.
Yeah.
And then you're like, fuck this, I don't trust anybody anymore. It's all stupid.
There's definitely like this unsettling feeling once it shifts in tone, it stays that way, and it's unsettling. I mean, I do enjoy being placed in that position. It's sort of challenging, and you especially when you don't know like how it's gonna end. But another interesting thing I think we should mention is some of the characters.
Yeah.
Now you've mentioned your appreciation for Rudolph, at least his performance.
Yeah.
I think he did a good job.
He made me hate him. Like the first second I saw his face. He
Yeah.
didn't even say anything yet. And I was like, oh no, I'm not gonna like this guy.
No, you're right. Like, yeah, one of the things with the actor who plays Rudolph is he does convey a lot just with action. Right from his opening appearance, when he like locks arms with the other guy and like starts to stroll with him side by side. He's not saying much. He's just saying, "Oh, like, where are you going? Like, I'm gonna walk with you." But you can read on his face, like, this is a disturbed man, like, and you shouldn't be.
His tantrum he throws is.
It's good, yeah.
It's real very good. Like you felt like, oh, this fella ain't all there. Like a grown man shouldn't be doing that, and then like a child then ruins the man's like handbag.
Yeah.
By like cutting off the tassels.
Yeah.
To be fair, that man probably shouldn't have had tasseled the bag like that though. It was not because a man can't have a handbag, but because it looked tacky and bad.
I don't think that was even his. I think that was his wife's.
No, it was his.
Was that?
Yeah, it was his.
Maybe. I thought it was his wife's too.
I thought he was carrying his wife's stuff.
Because I thought he was later in the film. He's complaining about. He's like, I didn't mind the purse.
Yeah, because it
I
wasn't.
lost my knife and lighter.
Shit. His wife's purse.
But another character, and I'm forgetting his name, but the man with the glasses.
Yeah.
Mark, do you remember his name?
Joseph, I think.
Joseph also like a good performance and a very a very uncomfortable, like disturbing portrayal, because that's again another commentary, another like political subtext.
He played the role of the guy who flips on his like his fellow countrymen,
exactly.
or his comrades, whatever way you want to put it, and how easily, like, if you get given a little bit of like semblance of power, how quickly people will just flip and change. Like he gets, like they make comments like, oh, like is it fun sitting at the head of the table?
At the head of the table,
and
during the like.
And he pretty much becomes full blown like
fascist.
A member. Yeah, fascist, like member of the main party, like with like Rudolph and like and the head guy whose like birthday they're celebrating and stuff. So.
Yeah, but it's not sudden. Like he's like, you get hints of his like transition, to fascism early on. I mean, right when they start setting these rules for people, remember he's the one to be like, guys, let's form a. He tries to make it as accommodating for the occupiers as possible. He's like, guys, let's form a line. Women here, men here. Maybe they want us to be alphabetical. Let's let's get in alphabetical order. And like one of the occupiers even comments is like, yeah, we like that, thanks. And it's like you already tell, oh, this guy's gonna be a piece of shit.
Yeah. Like he would sell them out. He's like the equivalent of like the. Like in like when like Germany would like occupy like European cities, and they would like appoint like certain Jewish people to pretty much become like quote unquote like the Jewish like police, and to handle like the ghettos, before they started sending people off to
Yeah.
the concentration camps and stuff. And it was like just one of the things like I was talking about that like did a good job of like subtly just like he himself, like his character arc is like Microcosm is like a good example of like the gradual buildup of tension, like how he gradually changes
Right.
throughout the movie.
And
I looked at him, and right from the beginning, I was like, this dude's gonna switch sides. It's like you just knew his character. Like, just looking at him.
yeah, there
you're
was
like,
hints of it
"Oh."
early on. Yeah.
It's like, you're gonna do something.
Yeah, there's definitely and another like one of my favorite parts with his character is near the end when they've like the search party has already went out to find the woman's husband, and he starts sort of interrogating her. You remember, like he's like, so let me get this straight. What exactly did your husband say to you before he left? And she's like, nothing. He just said like he was leaving. He didn't want to be here. And he's like, okay, I find that interesting. And he didn't ask you to come too. Like it was like an interrogation at that point, you know. And it's like he started the film off with like he was in her party, and like it's like no, they're on different sides now.
Yeah.
The Democratic Party.
The Democrat. One of the other things that I forgot to mention too that I thought, or was one of the more like unnerving things where it didn't progress, but it kind of reminded me of that one movie that we watched.
Which one?
Starts with an A.
Oh, that's helpful.
What's
It's
the
that
plot?
Silent One with the woman where she's being like followed by
Oh, you're talking about a mayor.
a mayor. Oh yeah, where it was just very brief. But when one of the wives wants to go to the bathroom,
I know exactly what you're talking
and
about.
like the two, the two men like come to get her, and they grab her like on either side, but like the way that they were like looking at her, treating her, it was very just like, okay, what's gonna go on like.
Right.
When she leaves, because it's like she's being taken away to use the bathroom by these two grown men.
Yeah,
And when
and-
she came back, like the other, like her friend, like was like immediately like, oh, I'm gonna go step over this line because like I don't know what just happened with her and like these men.
Yeah, I was concerned about the same thing when she was like, I need to go to the bathroom, and she's being escorted away by two
I
men.
was like, oh no,
I was
don't
like,
go
oh,
to the
she's-
bathroom. Don't go to the
She's gonna
bathroom.
get raped. Right now.
God damn.
I mean, that's how I felt. And then, but no, yeah. And then there's a similar movie for some context, a mayor, a similar scene, I should say, where it does a lot without using too much dialogue, but there's building tension about what's going to happen to a certain woman during this pivotal scene in the film. But yeah, no, that's true. That's a good catch.
But all right, we already know how Tiff feels, but Tiff, tell us anyways. What's your favorite part, and would you recommend this to people?
Oh. I mean, I would recommend it to people just because I don't like something. I don't like it because it made me uncomfortable. I don't think it's like a terribly made movie or filmed movie. It has nothing to do with like the overall story or anything. It's just for certain people, like the entire plot and like the experience is just gonna be uncomfortable and they're not gonna like it regardless of how good the story is. But yeah, I think the story is something that, you know, people should watch and listen to, and I mean, overall it's a good movie. I just don't like it. But I don't think that you're gonna like every story to every movie you watch, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't watch them.
Fair enough. Ed?
I loved it. It's definitely, you know, we had seen Daisies and we had seen The Joke, and it's definitely above The Joke. The Joke being my least favorite of the three. But if it's not for the fact that I adore Daisy so much, this would have been like, I really like this movie a lot, and it did a good job again of once it changes tonally of keeping that sort of discomfort in the audience, and it's just like very, very good political, like spot on political subtext. I really, really enjoyed it.
So you would recommend it?
Absolutely.
Cool. I enjoyed it quite a bit as well. I thought there were some very strong performances. Rudolph, I thought, was fantastic. Like this guy born in a different time would be like a perfect like villain for like a comic book film. Like
I had the idea that he would. I think he would be a good Fredo.
comic book villain, not Fredo. But overall, yeah, really dug it a lot, and I would recommend it. Same with you. I'd probably say it's this. I probably like Daisy's a little bit more still, but this is right up there.
Yeah.
Really good. And yeah, that's it. That's all I got to say about this. You guys got anything else to say? Too bad. But you know what? Like, subscribe, check out the other videos on the page. You can watch Johnny. What the fuck's his face?
I think
Johnny.
it's Johnny Climax.
Yeah, watch his shit. You don't have to. But thank you for joining us here on Cinephile Discourse, aka Bags of. What was it?
Class.
Bags of Class. Yeah, we love you.